Hi, it's Teresa. I wanted to come on this morning with a kind of sensitive word about healing. And I have so much compassion for this because not only uh, I am a lifetime sufferer of these kind of symptoms, and working with people now for 30 years, I have so much compassion. And literally, there's not a single person that comes to me, usually for some kind of pain, that does not have an element of what I'm about to talk about going on in their lives. So basically, we're hearing more and more about mind-body symptoms, and we really have to look at what is really the real cause of our health problems. Okay, for one thing, we know that until Jesus returns and we are, in our glorified bodies with him, we're not going to live forever. No one gets out of here alive, as they say. So that's not really the goal, though. The goal is to have as much health as we can for as long as we can, to be functionally healthy as long as we're alive, so that basically we can bring forth that which God created us to bring forth into this world, right? But so many people, now more than ever, are, have all kinds of health problems, chronic pain, degenerative conditions like arthritis, diabetes, heart disease, cancer, autoimmune conditions. There's so many, okay? I mean, there's just so many. But what's being discovered now with research is that probably 95% of health complaints that bring someone to the doctor, barring trauma, okay, is caused by stress, but specifically emotional stress, which is caused by repressed emotions. So, with that said, I want to just share, if I could, one of my clients, just the best, such a sweet woman, love her so much. I'm working with her for a few years now. She just as a case in point to talk about this issue, so maybe people can see themselves in this and start to think about it for themselves. She was involved in a very, very serious accident and had multiple surgeries, and it was an extensive recovery process. But she still has a lot of symptoms and a lot of chronic pain. But working with her for a while now, what I have seen is, most of that is a large percentage, if not maybe even all of it, is really from emotional stress, from childhood developmental trauma, as well as current life stuff. And here's the thing, this is a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people, especially when they've been through the run through the mill of the medical industry, which has given us diagnosis after diagnosis, treatment after treatment, surgery, pills, running the gamut. It's really, really difficult to get out of the mindset that what are very tangible, real physical symptoms are actually being caused by our brain, and that our body's really okay. Yeah, that's a tough pill to swallow for a lot of people. And I get that. But what I want to talk about right now isn't that part of it being tough. It's the part about being probably the most terrifying thing for people to do is really look at repressed emotions. Because it's scary. There's a reason they're repressed. When they were repressed when we were really little, because we didn't have any outlet or even understand what we were feeling, we just had to survive what we were experiencing. In those kind of cases, it's really difficult to look at those emotions. Now, I'm the first one to admit I know that. I'm also a person who has experienced tremendous amount of developmental and attachment trauma, relationship trauma, so much abuse, so much psychological, emotional abuse, and neglect, rejection, bullying, like an ad nauseum list. And I have to say that it's really the Lord, God, Jesus Christ, that really got me through all of that. And I'm going to tell you something about a relationship with God. Okay, he loves us so much, but he's also knows that if we are sitting on the railroad tracks and refusing to budge, he might shove us off those tracks before the train kills us. That's how it is with our life. If we are hell-bent, literally, on being stubborn about not looking at our stuff, not forgiving those who've hurt us, not repenting for judging, and we aren't willing to look at our repressed emotions, he might make it so that we have no choice. And I'm so fortunate. I'm the kind of person that's happened to in my life. The Lord has really pushed me. So what I want to say is compassion, 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 compassion. Love, support, understanding, care from someone who's lived it, okay? Lots of symptoms I've had. Let me just run through the list real quick. Chronic asthma, debilitating IBS, like my intestines tied up in knots, so painful, worse than childbirth. Worse, okay? Plantar fasciitis, frozen shoulder. What else have I had? Low back pain. All these things could have been given a diagnosis, but because I'm a manual therapist, I realized they were coming from stress. And I didn't have health insurance and I didn't have any money. So I didn't really have access to doctors. There's a few times with the IBS stuff that I thought, oh my gosh, what if I have a pancreatic tumor? I mean, at one point I asked my dad, would you pay for me to get an ultrasound? He said no. So I haven't had the luxury or the indulgence of having medical corroboration or complicity in basically imprisoning myself in false diagnoses. I guess that's a good thing, because it forced me to look at the emotional stuff. And every single one of those things I've gotten breakthrough in. And in the meantime, I've learned a lot about how the body works. So getting back to my dear friend who I love so much, you know, as a therapist, those of you who may be therapists out there, you know one of the hardest things is to see your clients not be ready to look at their stuff that they need to in order to move forward and really heal. I think for me, that's definitely the hardest thing. And I'm just going to say that without God, without Jesus, there's times in the middle of the night when he has pushed me to look at feelings that were so painful, I thought I would die. But I did it out of obedience to him. I did it because I have a fear of the Lord. If I didn't have that, I wouldn't have looked at those feelings. So I'm just saying, yes, compassion, but also we've got to be responsible for our whole being, right? We have to take captive our thoughts, even our subconscious thoughts. But in order to take them captive, we first have to uncover them and discern them. And fear of a person, you know, I used alcohol for a number of years as well to medicate all that stuff, so I didn't have to look at my feelings. I couldn't do that anymore. Why? Not because I particularly cared or gave a crap about myself or my body. I really kind of didn't. I'm going to be honest. It was because of my kids, number one. No, it was because of my kids, but number one, it was God. Because I realized I couldn't stand before him at the end of my life and justify throwing away everything he gave me to do on avoiding my feelings. So fear of the Lord, guys. At the end of the day, yes, we have compassion. Yes, we have support. Yes, we love people, have patience with them. You know, to the ends of the earth, like the Lord does with us. But he also makes us move when we're hell-bent on destroying ourselves. So I just want to say there's more resources than there's ever been to do that kind of self-discovery work. And I certainly offer support with that as well. But I'm just going to say some of the coaching training I've taken relative to looking at mind-body conditions and helping to uncover and express the emotions that are causing our symptoms that have healed me is, number one, prayer with the Lord and doing what He says, which is, mostly forgiving people. Secondly, something called emotional awareness and expression therapy. I have training in that as a coach. That is Dr. Howard Schubner, Dr. Mark Lumley. Really great technique, but it's really just looking at your feelings. And Dr. Schubner would be the first one to admit that. Number 2 is brain spotting, which I'm also training as a coach. Ooh, next level. That one is more of a rewiring of the brain and nervous system. You don't have to do the arduous work of really looking at feelings, and it still works. Pretty magical. IFS work, internal family systems work. I have training in that too. That's a really cool modality. But I'm just going to say we have to bring all these things to the Lord prayerfully as well. Those are my suggestions to get started. You can look that up. There's so many free resources online and books. You can learn it all. You can do it yourself, journaling work. But if you want to check it out, give me a call. Just contact me on my website. You can do that. I would love to chat with you. Free. Don't worry about it. We can just have a conversation. See what is going on with you. Yeah. Okay. Thanks so much. Put my website in the show notes. And blessings to everybody. Listen, we need to be patient with ourselves, patient with others. Nobody acts like a butthead because they really want to. Not really. It's because they're hyperactivated from trauma, most people. And we just got to have patience with each other. Deep breath. Really helps. Thanks for listening, and God bless.